Hello, everybody. I swear, the more I dig into this topic, the worse it gets. More names, more and more and more just fall out of almost nowhere. There's like this portal opening that is just simply releasing all these freaking pedophiles. Anyway, the safety and well being of the nation's youth must be the paramount concern of any functioning government. However, a disturbing trend has emerged where individuals elected to serve the public and uphold the law have instead used their positions of power to prey upon the most vulnerable. This is not a matter of political partisanship. It is a matter of criminality and moral decay. The following cases detail 7 elected officials who have been charged, convicted, or sentenced for crimes involving the sexual abuse of children. These individuals have betrayed the trust of the constituents and violated sanctity of their office. It is imperative that we speak up about these atrocities and demand that Congress take immediate, decisive action to rid the government of these sick-minded individuals. Tim Nolan, a Republican judge and campaign official for President Donald Trump in Kentucky, was indicted on serious federal charges, including human trafficking. The allegations against Nolan were heinous, accusing him of forcing a minor, specifically a 9-year-old child, to engage in sexual activity. Additionally, he was charged with providing alcohol to minors. He was ultimately charged with 28 felonies, including rape, human trafficking, witness tampering, prostitution, unlawful transaction with a minor, and sodomy. As a result of these crimes, Nolan was convicted and is listed among the roster of Republican pedophiles who have been sentenced for their actions against youth. Dennis Hastert, the Republican former Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, pled guilty in 2015 to structuring bank withdrawals to conceal misconduct. During his sentencing hearing in October 2015, Hastert admitted to the court that he had sexually abused boys while he worked as a high school wrestling coach decades prior. In court submissions, federal prosecutors alleged that Hastert had molested at least 4 boys as young as 14 years of age. Referring to Hastert as a serial child molester, a federal judge imposed a sentence of 15 months in prison, 2 years supervised release, and a $250,000 fine. He became the highest-ranking elected official in U.S. history to be sentenced to prison. Mark Foley, a Republican U.S. representative from Florida, resigned his House seat in 2006 when accused of sending sexually explicit emails to underage male congressional pages. The messages, which were sent to minors serving in the Capitol, constituted a gross violation of the trust placed on him by the public and the families of these young pages. Foley's resignation was an admission that his behavior was untenable for a sitting member of Congress, highlighting the failure of intentional or internal oversight to protect the minors working within the legislative branch. Matt Gaetz, A Republican U.S. representative from Florida has been the subject of a federal investigation regarding his conduct with minors. In March 2021, the New York Times reported that the Department of Justice was investigating whether Gates had violated federal sex trafficking laws by having a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old girl. While Gates has denied any wrongdoing and claimed he and his family were victims of extortion, the investigation into a sitting congressman for potential sex trafficking of a minor represents a grave concern for government integrity. John Rose, a Republican U.S. representative from Tennessee, has faced scrutiny regarding his relationship with his wife, whom he married when she was significantly younger. Reports indicate that Rose groomed his eventual wife from the age of 17 while he was 41 years old. While legal, the significant age gap in the initiation of the relationship when she was a minor raises serious ethical questions about his judgment and fitness to serve in a body responsible for crafting laws to protect the nation's young. Donald Sherwood, a Republican U.S. representative from Pennsylvania, failed to win re-election following revelations of a 5-year extramarital affair with Cynthia Orr, who accused him of physically abusing her. While the primary scandal involved an adult consensual affair, the accusations of physical abuse by a sitting congressman point to a pattern of violence and misuse of power. The exposure of his behavior led to his political downfall, demonstrating that voters will reject officials who engage in abusive conduct, even if the victim is an adult. Mel Reynolds, a Democratic U.S. representative from Illinois, resigned from Congress in 1995 after a conviction for statutory rape. Reynolds was convicted of criminal sexual abuse and obstruction of justice for having a relationship with a 16-year-old campaign volunteer. This case serves as a reminder that the issue of predators in government is not exclusive to one political party, reinforcing the need for nonpartisan vigilance and stringent vetting processes for all candidates, regardless of their affiliation. The case of Tim Nolan, Dennis Hastert, Mark Foley, Matt Gaetz, John Rose, Donald Sherwood, and Mel Reynolds illustrate a systemic failure to protect children and vulnerable individuals from those in power. When an individual is elected into office, they are granted power, influence, and often a presumption of integrity. When that power is used to facilitate the sexual abuse of minors, it is a violation of the social contract that is unforgivable. It is no longer enough to simply express outrage after the fact or to rely on the justice system to deliver blade to justice. By the time these individuals are sentenced or forced to resign, the damage has often already been done. We must demand a proactive approach to government integrity. Congress must implement rigorous mandatory background checks and psychological evaluations for all candidates and sitting officials. Furthermore, there must be a zero-tolerance policy for any form of sexual misconduct involving minors. If an elected official is charged with such crimes, they should be immediately suspended from their duties without pay, pending the outcome of a thorough and transparent investigation. We, the public, must also speak up. Silence protects predators. We must demand accountability from our political parties and insist that they stop prioritizing political power over the safety of our children. The government must be purged of individuals who view their office as a shield for their depravity. The safety of our youth depends on our willingness to confront these uncomfortable truths and demand a government that is truly worthy of public trust.